Okay, this is the weekly meeting of the resource development team, the grant writing team. This is Jared Wilk. I'm Aaron Makarick. Okay, you want to do a check-in? Where are we at, Jared?
I There are a number, so we're still working on the three-page letter of interest for the USAID DIV, and I'm kind of stuck on the first, and I think kind of most literary section, the development challenge. Uh,
Okay, 1 second. Let me pull that up.
I
Okay.
had some, you already had some really nice content on that, just like a really succinct description of the challenge. But
You need
for
rel,
this, for this, what's that?
but it looks like you need this part, the relevant data and citations in support of your statements. Is that
Yeah, right. And I haven't been able to find it. I've only been able, you see this big chunk here? It's just data about the U.S. And I don't like how it's kind of shifting the focus of this. Like your statement was nice and broad. It talks about all the like developed nations in general. But I'm kind of all of this U.S. data kind of makes it have a little more self-centered feeling to it. Which, I mean, USAID is like assistance for international development. So they're focusing outward. I'm just intuiting that focusing on our own stats won't be too
all
strong an
right?
argument.
So I want to propose this. Let's focus on the aspect of lowering barriers of entry for the development of enterprise. So if we take a look at, let me pull up the sheet. I'm gonna share my screen with you at the same time. All right, do you see my screen?
No. Maybe I'll go to Skype.
Yep.
Yeah, there it is.
Okay. I mean, you're familiar with what I'm gonna show you, but all right. If we okay. All right. So if we focus on comparing, the cost of purchasing the machine on the market, and how much we can save on people who normally wouldn't be able to access this equipment through the GVCS.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, that's the heart of the development issue, and it spans globally. So if we look at basically, in order to address issues of poverty, um, and unemployment in any kind of nation, whether it's the developing world or the developed world, um, people need to be able to access tools that they can use to start their own businesses. And right now, not only are the costs extremely high for people, so the barriers are high for entry, but then you have ongoing maintenance costs, and normally the equipment is not designed so that the average person can repair it themselves. And then there's also this idea of built-in obsolescence or planned obsolescence that we can talk about, um, where machinery is designed to break down and have a limited lifespan, so people are dependent on the company that manufactures it, so that they have to continue to buy those products over the generations. So, we can talk about, the general sentiment would be that the barriers of entry to the marketplace for developing business are too high, and that what we do is lower those barriers by creating machinery that lasts a lifetime. It's on average 69% more affordable than commercial alternatives, and people can service it themselves. So all these costs are lowered for entrepreneurs. And what this will the outcomes that this will have are that will lower unemployment rates, and will raise living standards. So these are really amenable ways to talk about our programming. I think that that might be a good way to focus on it, as opposed to the bigger issue. And the bigger issue is like there are structural problems within the economy, but it's harder to pin down how those happen unless you want to get into stuff that's divisive, even though it seems pretty objective. Like there's a lot of corruption in Wall Street. The banking system is predatory. I mean, what I mean, with these trade deficits going on, it gets beyond my scope of expertise to really explain the global economy to anybody. So, just talking about lowering barriers, we not only do I think that's a good idea, we've had some help on our messaging from outside, and people think that's a good thing to focus on. So, do you think that's a good route?
Um,
Are you still there?
yeah, I'm thinking about it. I'm just kind of comparing different aspects of it. I like how concrete it is. Um, that's just like pure business. Look, the numbers are much lower. I like that.
Another way to
That
say
could,
it.
yeah, that could be a strong one. If it's, was it the TED advisors that said to do it?
Isaiah Saxon and Martin worked on that for a while. I
Okay.
mean, okay, so what we do is we direct the development challenge is unemployment and the rate of poverty out there, and also we have an environmental aspect because we're creating localized manufacturing, so we're cutting out on how far goods have to travel and how much carbon output industries have because everything is relocalized. I mean, that's the goal. But generally, we're addressing poverty and unemployment,
Yeah.
and we create entrepreneurial based solutions to unemployment and poverty. So the development challenge, is people are poor. They don't have access to food. They have to work horrible jobs for inhumane hours in toxic environments all over the world, and that's happening for billions of people, right? And so if we just provided access to the mechanical basis for high living standards, we expand the access and lower the barriers, then people all over the world can start to use these tools to provide food and housing and shelter and transportation and energy to themselves. So I think that's a clear way. So just getting some statistics on how many people live in poverty, um, maybe how many people in rural areas live in poverty, break it up like that. It doesn't, we're not only focused on the rural environments, but we can talk about how we can bring food to those environments, or people can bring food to themselves that way. I mean, the problem statement, which is what this is, is pretty clearly outlined also in the Draper Richards the Draper Richards Kaplan grant. Have you taken a look at that?
Uh, I looked through all the grants. I must have. I just
No,
don't remember it very
this is
clearly.
actually this is a new document. I don't know. Let me see if you're even shared on it because yeah, you're not. So let me add you to this. This is kind of like the new thinking so far. I mean, we'll always refine it, but I just sent you an invitation. So take a look at the overview of need. It's the first section.
Still getting to it. Okay. Okay. I'm on a little netbook right now, so it's just kind of slow.
No, that's cool. And you can take a look at that in your when we get off in the meeting. I just want to make sure that you had access to that. That's a good document to look at for a broad view. Okay.
Great, thanks.
Do you have any other questions on the U.S. aid letter of interest or letter of inquiry?
Yeah, so, um, I just want to clarify, am I right in thinking, I don't want to talk too broadly. It looks like our target, initially, our target audience is just going to be developed nations.
You mean that's what the USAID office wants to see, or that's what we're planning to do?
That's what it looked like we're focusing on.
I mean, we're already selling machinery in Africa. We've got stuff going on in Guatemala and the Philippines. I think we have applicability in developing and developed nations alike. So we don't need to limit our scope. I mean, we're just testing. Our priority is to work in the developed world right now and make sure that our programming is solid before we expand. But
I see.
there's no reason this can't apply anywhere.
So it's just whoever approaches us for adoption.
Yeah.
Okay. Do we have any information on, like, I know that price comparison sheet that you showed, like, we're about 65, 69% less expensive than retail models. I know the cost estimates we've all done are based on, like, buying and implementing this stuff in the US. Have we looked into, like, what kind of price differences there are in different countries?
No, we haven't.
Okay.
I mean, shipping costs are going to be included. That's going to raise the price on both sides, really. I think if you're looking at the I actually no. I don't know if that's a strategic thing to do right now. To look into that kind of research, because I don't think our numbers are solid enough to the point where that's gonna actually hold up over time. I think if we're gonna get that rigorous with our numbers, we need to make sure our fundamentals are in place first. And what I mean by that is we don't have a full spec sheet for each machine yet, so we don't know exactly what to compare it to.
Yeah.
So we don't know exactly what models we should be looking to compare ourselves to, not only here but in the third world, and then looking at shipping costs and all that. So I think we got to get our fundamentals more solid before we invest more time in that. It serves its purpose right now.
Okay.
Outside of this section, did you have any other questions?
I think I was waiting on a number of different sections just for info I didn't have. Let me check. Let's see. Potential to scale. were you looking into that, or is there something I can do? I was stuck on, like, talking about the potential impact in 3, 5, and 10 years. There was a little bit of description in building a team.
All right, I'll do this section.
Okay. Let's see. Competitive landscape, measuring success, project team. Okay. And do we have we, I'm looking at the project team. We were going to hold off until the 7th. Have we, like, formed a new team? Is there a link that I can?
We're still figuring out who the team's gonna be. We've that's been like one of the main priorities since we last talked. Is we've interviewed a ton of people.
Okay.
So we're still nailing that down. So yeah, let's say. Um,
Okay. Great. Well, I will take another crack at. It looks like the only thing for me to do right now is just take another crack at the development challenge, talking more just about cost savings.
okay, yeah, and then the longer term strategy for our team will be. I've got a couple projects to wrap up. I'm gonna try and do that as soon as possible, and then I want to go full blast on the grant writing again. Any kind of grant research you can do in the meantime is awesome. So if you can keep feeding me stuff.
Great.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much where we're at. You know, my work is beyond grant writing at this time. So like, I just have all this other stuff I got to wrap up if I can. But yeah, let's try and set a day that we want to send this this letter of interest out, or letter of inquiry. When do you think we should send it out?
Let's see. I mean, the earliest deadline we're looking at is June 1st. I don't know when the next one is after that. Looks like they're doing it about monthly or something.
All right, let's try and have like a final draft due on the 14th, and then we'll meet on next Monday and take a look at that, and then
Okay.
I'll take a look at a final draft the next day after. So on the Tuesday the 15th, I'll take another look at it with a fresh head after any kind of final reviews, and I'll try and submit that on Tuesday.
Okay.
So I'll work with you on Monday. I mean, I'll work with you up to Monday to get that going. Okay.
Okay. Great, thanks.
Do you have any other stuff you want to throw out there, or are we looking good?
Yeah. Still on track?
Okay. All right, man. Well, thanks for your time
Thanks.
and involvement, and I'll talk to you soon, all right?
Yeah, okay.